Thank you very much for that nice introduction. As I was introduced, my name is Aquan-Assee, and my primary work is as a grade 2, 3 elementary school teacher here in Toronto. Well, this has been a really challenging job, but it's also been a great job. Not just because I got July and August off. It's been a great job because it's helped me to grow new brain cells. And that's something that's so important to me. You see, 20 years ago, in 1997, I was a patient over there in the Neuro-Trauma Intensive Care Unit because I sustained a very severe traumatic brain injury because of a very serious motorcycle accident. I sustained a severe traumatic brain injury and numerous life-threatening internal injuries, and I was not expected to live. But I was given the gift of a second life and a second chance, which in essence was an opportunity for me to start over. But then get this, only 4 years ago, I sustained 2 more brain injuries at my work. So on 2 separate occasions, I was knocked out unconscious, not by the great team. And I had to go to the hospital, excuse me. And so I ended up back at the hospital, here at St. Mike's in emergency, but thankfully I don't have to go to the intensive care unit. But if I had, I know I would have received great care. And then after that, then I have to start going back as a patient to the head injury clinic to start seeing all the professionals again. So I know a lot about brain injuries. Now, before I continue talking, let me just start off by saying that this is so nice to be able to speak to people that are actually quiet. This is awesome. Thank you so very much. This is amazing. The students in my class, I think this right for free speech that we had is not really a right, but an obligation. So thank you very much. Anyways, my journey to the ICU, okay, so this happened on September 23rd, 1997. It's a very significant day in my life. At that time, I was a grade 7-8 elementary school teacher, and I was also the coach of the football team in my school. So the morning of September 23rd, 1997, I wake up at my girlfriend's house, and I was so excited. You see, my football team had qualified for the Toronto Football Championships. We were going to the city finals. So I was so excited. I wanted to get to the morning football practice. And I was going to take my motorcycle to get to school. And so I was rushing around the house, gathering my belongings that morning, trying to get myself ready. And then my girlfriend comes up to me and she asked me if I wanted an egg sandwich. Do I want an egg sandwich for breakfast? I said to her, no, I don't have time to eat breakfast. I'm late. I got to get to the practice. We're going to the city finals. You know what? She goes ahead and makes me this egg sandwich anyways. Despite my protest. This got me feeling real frustrated and upset. This was a pattern in our relationship. We didn't listen to each other. On this day, she did not listen to me when I told her not to bother making an egg sandwich. And likewise, I too did not listen to her when she said to me, Anthony, sit down and eat the egg sandwich I made for you. Don't waste it. You're so patient, just like the kids that you teach. You don't know it. And when she said this to me, I got pissed. I think I ended up saying something to her. And then I stormed out of the house without saying another word to her. And the egg sandwich that she made for me remained on the kitchen counter uneaten. And this was a decision that would change the course of my life forever. So I took my motorcycle to work, and I was only 3 blocks away from my girlfriend's house when I was smashed by a very careless driver. The driver slashed my motorcycle because they were in a rush to catch their morning GO train. So it was a head-on collision. It was a very bad accident. When the paramedics came to see the accident, they said that I was VSA. And I wasn't breathing. I wasn't conscious. I wasn't responsive to any stimulation. I didn't have a pulse. They said the GCS was a 3, classical coma score. And it was really bad, so they had to airlift me to St. Michael's Hospital. And it is here where I underwent numerous life-saving surgeries. Not only was I in a very deep coma, I was in a coma for 2 weeks, but I also sustained numerous life-threatening internal injuries that required lots of surgeries. So when I get to St. Mike's, I'm bleeding profusely inside because I ruptured my spleen and I tore a lacerated my intestines. So the general surgeon had to perform emergency surgery and remove my spleen and stitch up my lacerated intestines to stop the perfusion bleeding. But then after that, then I have to go for neurosurgery because I sustained a very serious brain injury. The brain damage was intense. Then after that, then I had to have open heart surgery and lung surgery because I badly damaged my heart and my lungs. You see, the force of the impact of the car striking me, it broke the bones in my chest, which cut through my heart and my lungs, badly injured. After that, then I had to have vascular surgery because I ruptured an artery, a major artery in my groin. There's a variety of these crotch rockets because you strap them over this gas tank and bad. After that, then I had to have knee surgery because I broke my right knee. And I tore all the ligaments in my right knee. And then since then, I've had to have another 5 knee surgeries. Then I had to have throat surgery because I had to have a tracheostomy put in to help me breathe. Then I had to have plastic surgery because I broke most of the bones in my face. See, I broke my nose, I broke my jaw, I broke my cheekbone right here, and I broke the bone on my left eye. So the plastic surgeon had to set my nose and jaw in place to heal. And then they had to place a metal plate right here on my cheekbone to hold this bone in place. And then they had to place screws on the wire on my left eye right here to hold this bone in place. But I can still feel the screws and wires in the middle of my face today. So, all these injuries, they kept the ICU nurses extremely busy. Now, when you think about it, it's unbelievable the amount of work that the ICU nurses have to go through and what they have to do. See, number one, not only are they working a 12-hour shift, that's incredibly difficult. Number two, they're working in a downtown Toronto major trauma center that is so busy. So they're having to deal with so many different patients. And all these patients have so many different injuries. And all these patients, they have so many different needs and challenges. There is so much that they have to take care of. It's unbelievable. But I tell you, you know what? There's one thing that the ICU nurses, they should get an award for. I cannot believe it. The nurses, what they do with this, the extra work, taking care of someone's holy catheter. They had to take care of mine for 2 months. Maybe that's TMI, but you know what? They got to know me very well. Anyway, all this shows you the tremendous consideration, compassion, kindness, and dedication that these nurses have. They're a very, very special and unique group of people. I might start crying too, so you know you and I are partners. They've really helped me and my family deal with this extremely difficult experience in my life. It's always been haunting me ever since. So, where was I? This is one of the things in the brain, you forget so much, you can't even brain. Even though I speak out this all the time. It's sort of like reality TV show. It's like brain injury in action here. Okay, so anyways, with all these injuries, did I tell you about my injuries? Yeah. Okay, yeah, so anyways, with all these injuries, I was not expecting to live. However, the most difficult injury for me to deal with has been the damage to my brain. The brain injury has changed my life tremendously. It's been so difficult dealing with the severe memory problems, as well as all the other severe problems that are associated with the brain injury. It's so difficult. But I tell you, there's one thing that I've done consistently since my accident that's helped me so much with my brain injury. That's my volunteer here at St. Michael's. I've been a volunteer here at St. Michael's for 18 years now. And I've done that, excuse me, I did that. I started volunteering after I was released from rehab hospital. You see, I was a patient in the intensive care unit for 2 months. And then after I was transferred to the floor for another month, I was then transferred to a rehab hospital for neurological rehabilitation. And I was in rehab for about 6 months. And then once I was released from rehab hospital, I wasn't doing much. I couldn't go back to my job to teach with the severe brain damage that I sustained. So this is what I really wanted to go back to St. Michael's. I was so motivated to get back to the hospital for giving me the gift of second life. So I started volunteering. And I started to volunteer in the Neuro-Trauma Intensive Care Unit, the very place where I was given the gift of the second life. I was so happy. I wanted to be such an amazing volunteer. So, back then, things were so different than they are today. Not only with the ICU, but with me. Back then, my memory problem was so severe, I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember my family, I couldn't remember myself, I didn't know anything about my life. So there's been a lot of changes since that time for me, a lot of improvements. And similarly, with the ICU back then was very different than what it is today. Today, it's a high-tech, state-of-the-art Neuro-Trauma Intensive Care Unit. Back then, it was much smaller. It was much darker and gloomy because it didn't have any windows like it does today. And there certainly weren't as many beds. And us volunteers, we didn't sit inside the ICU back then. Nowadays, we sit inside the ICU to help out the families. But back then, we had a desk that was by the waiting room close to the elevators. And so it was our job to act as the intermediary, to act as the person to help the family members get into the ICU. And so let's say there was a family member. They got off the elevator back then. And they came up to me and they said, "Excuse me, I want to go visit my son Alex in the ICU." So my response to them would be, "Okay, well, hold on one second, please. I'm just going to go check inside the ICU with the nurses and doctors to see if this patient can have any visitors." And so then I'd walk down the really long hallway to the ICU and go into the ICU. And as soon as I got in there, I was horrified because I'd forgotten what the person had just asked me. I couldn't remember. I felt so embarrassed and so self-conscious, I knew I was going to have to go back to the waiting room and ask that person again. So I dragged myself back to the waiting room, got to the waiting room entrance. There's only a few family members in the waiting room, but I'm horrified again. I can't even remember what the person looked like. I have no idea who this person was that asked me. Now, these memory problems happen all the time. Let me tell you, this is one of the positives of the brain injury, is you get to meet so many brand new people. So anyways, I stand there, tell the family members that I can't remember what it is that somebody asked me, can you help me? And suddenly the person jumps forward. And I'm thinking to myself, thank God, because I can't remember who it was. And so they tell me they want to visit their son Alex in the ICU. So I go back to the ICU, and as soon as I get in the ICU, I forget again. But it's these major memory problems that help me and motivate me to go out to learn so many different strategies to cope and compensate for my difficulties. It's what motivated me to learn strategies. And so St. Michael's Hospital, as well as the nurses, they've really given to me so much, and they've helped me become the person that I am today. Hi, Dr. Baker. I helped that gentleman lose a lot of weight in my case. I wasn't stressed out about my case so much. Anyway, so today, my brain injury has enabled me to become much more efficient because I've been forced to learn and use a variety of strategies to help me cope and compensate for my difficulties. And thanks to St. Michael's, I've learned so much. So not only do I think that I'm great, there's many women, like my wife Jennifer sitting over there, I think that I'm great too. Because I'm one of these very rare men that never forget a birthday, anniversary, or any other special day, thanks to my best strategy. Imagine me with Apple. Apple put me as the poster boy. Brain injuries. There's life with the iPhone. Like that. Anyways, so I want to thank all the nurses, the staff, the doctors at St. Michael's Hospital for giving me so much. They've helped give me the gift of a second life. And one thing I just want to end off with, 3 words to describe myself. This is for the nurses. Today, I'm now alert. I'm oriented. And I'm now independent. Thanks to all of you.